Hey guys, John Stevens here at Working Man Success again to give you some ideals, concepts, practical plans, attitudes that will help you work your way up the ladder of success and build the best life you can for you and your family. Hey, today guys, I got a really important one. You've probably heard it a lot, but I don't think that people break it down and really study how important it is. And I've got some numbers for you today I'm going to share just to make it more real. But throughout our whole life, we hear, like we don't need to be wasting time. And I don't think people understand what that means about not wasting time. So if you're a working man, you give a big portion of your time every week to your work. And let's say that's 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is. For a lot of us, it's a lot more than that. But you give a big portion of your time to work. And then there's a big portion of your time that's already removed because you have to sleep, right? You sleep 7 to 8 hours a day. So really, you're dealing with a period of maybe 6 to 8 hours, sometimes a lot less than that on a daily basis that we actually control, that we can actually manipulate. And what most people do with them 4, 6, 8 hours, whatever they have on a daily basis, they usually just waste it, right? And there's very few times that you have a plan put together of how to approach these few hours every day that you have. And then on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, how many weekends do you go into? You get off on Friday and you have your Saturday and you have your Sunday off, or maybe you just have one day a week off. How many times do you go into that day without a very laid out plan for your time? So, like I said, guys, we have to give a huge portion of our time to our work in order to have what we need in life and to provide a good life for our family. But our time is the most valuable thing that we can plan for. And you don't have to plan your time at work, which we will get into that later. That could be a very beneficial thing too if you plan out your day at work. But right now, I'm just talking about planning your time off. Like when you're not at work, what are you doing? Do you have a routine? Do you have a way to make it as valuable as you can for you and your family? So we're living in a time right now where it's easier to throw away time than it's ever been before. If you're young, if you're 18 to say 30 or 35, do you realize y'all are in the age group right now of the first people that has ever from start to finish have access to a cell phone? We didn't have these phones way back growing up. Even when I was in high school and stuff, I didn't have a phone. And I didn't have, and definitely even after I got a phone for a long time, there was no such thing as social media. It's like, it wasn't a thing. It's just you used your phone to call people. You didn't use your phone to scroll through social media and get entertained. And we're living in a time right now where everybody is trying to steal your time. And I did some numbers. I just want to go over these numbers with you real quick. All the studies and stuff say that the average American person spends 10 to 11 hours on their phone every day. Okay, so I don't know if I believe that or not. I don't even see how that's possible. But so I cut that in half. Let's just cut that down to 5 hours a day. Let's just say that you spend 5 hours wasting time on social media. And I did some numbers to see exactly what that looked like over a period of a few years. And if you spend 5 hours a day, waste 5 hours on social media or anything else, let's just say TV, let's just say, you spend 5 hours doing absolutely nothing to move your life forward. Okay, so over a week's period, that's 35 hours. And 7 times 5 is 35. So it's 35 hours. What does that look like over a year's time? Like I said, I did a little numbers, and that comes out to 76 days out of a year. 76 days this year you're going to just cut out of your life. It's not yours. Like, you could just throw it in the garbage and it would be the same thing. 76 days. That's mind blowing to me. Okay, so how I figured that is you take 35 hours a week, times it times 52, and that number, whatever that number is, and you divide that by 24 hours, right? So that come out to 76 days. All right, so we got 76 days. Now, we're sleeping for 7 to 8 hours of every day. So if you remove that, you can say that a day is only 16 hours long. And if you look at it that way, you're giving up 114 days of your time every year. Now, over a period of 10 years, let's just say a decade, that turns into 2 full years of your time. It's 760 days over a 10-year period, which is 2 years. 2 solid years out of 10 years time that you threw away in the garbage. Now, if you're 20 years old, by the time you get 60 years old, it's 40 years. You think about what that looks like. That is 8 years of your life. 8 years you just threw away in the garbage. So, I mean, if you're 18 and you're listening to this, when you get 60 years old, right now, it's half your life. You know, if you're 18 and you throw away 8 years of your life, it's almost half of what you've been alive at this point. So just putting that in perspective, how much time do we throw away of our life, and then we wonder why our life is not moving forward, and we're not making progress, and we're losing relationships with our wife, and we're unhealthy, and all this kind of stuff. It's because our time is being stolen from us. And when we become aware of that, I'm not saying there's not time for social media, there's not time for certain things, but just being aware of what you're doing on social media. If you're just sitting and scrolling just because you don't have a plan for your time, you're throwing away your life, years of your life. So the main purpose of this video today is make sure you don't go into your time off. If you get off at 5 o'clock in the evening and you don't go to bed till 10 o'clock, have a plan for them 5 hours. It may be, that you sit around and scroll for an hour. Yeah, but have that in your plan. If you want to be on social media for an hour or two in the evening, that's up to you. You make that decision. I'm not saying don't do social media. I'm just saying that be aware of how much time that you're giving to everything. So if you go into a Saturday or a Sunday, or you have a day off, and you just go to sleep and wake up in that day, and you don't have a plan laid out to make your time valuable to you. You don't have, you don't have, plan out your hobby, whatever your hobby is, whether it's golf, whether it's fishing, whether it's whatever it is. If you don't have a plan to fit that in there, a plan to fit a nice dinner with your wife, or take her to the movies, a plan to spend time with your family, your kids, whatever it is, if you just wake up and you go into your day off without a plan, it's going to turn into wasted years, not wasted hours, wasted days, but wasted years of your life. And if you get in the habit of just throwing away hours throughout the week, well, I just went over the numbers with you, right? So, guys, the best thing you could do, like for the next month, if you look at your weekends, whatever days off you have, do you have a plan for them weekends? And you can put these plans in pencil, like they're changeable. If something comes up more important, if something comes up that you need to go help a friend, or you need to go help a family member, or you get invited to an event or something, that's fine. Whatever you had planned can change, but the main purpose is you don't go into a day without a plan, because you're throwing away your life. And guys, we can go deep into this later. I use I just use a plain calendar. I know there's Google calendars and all that stuff on the phone. I'm old school. I like to write stuff down, because when you write it down, it makes it real in your head, and it does. It's different. It makes it more true to you. So I'm not going to go much deeper than that. The whole purpose is know where your time is going, and when you have time off, be sure you have a plan for that time. You know people right now that is throwing away hours and hours of their life, and they haven't done the math, right? They haven't done the math to see exactly what that means 10 years down the road. If you're 20 and when you get 30 years old, if you know that you're just not really going to exist for 2 years of that, that kind of is mind blowing, right? Like, you just threw away a complete 2 years of your life. So I just want to put that in perspective. If you know somebody that needs to hear this, share it please, and get in the comments. And if it was valuable to you, give me a like, hit the subscribe button. I'll be here every day. We'll see y'all on the next one.